Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer, and I want to answer your questions today about winning asylum in the United States. Good morning, good afternoon, morning where I am in the central time zone in Texas. Good afternoon for those of you already out there in the afternoon on the East Coast, and good morning on the West Coast. I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now I'm an asylum lawyer in my law firm. It's called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. And this is the Asylum Answer Show where I answer your questions about winning asylum in the United States. Good morning, good afternoon. Let's see who we got. Assad, God, Instinct, Faryaz on TikTok. Good morning. I'm glad you're here with us on TikTok. Let's see. We got YouTube. Good morning. How are you? Kenny, good to see you. Good morning over on TikTok. Instagram, good morning. I'm Brian Manning, and I'm ready to answer your questions about winning asylum in America. So let me know. What do you got? What questions do you have? But actually, look, before you leave me your questions in the comments, let me know where you're watching from. Love to see where you guys are at. It's just interesting and fun for me to see where this community is of asylum seekers and the people that are supporting them. I love to see where you guys are at. We have Assad who says from a client. Nice, Assad. Thank you for being a client. Look, we appreciate the fact that it's a big decision, guys. Who you hire to be your immigration lawyer, your asylum lawyer, is a big deal. We're talking about something incredibly important. We're talking about your safety, your security, and the life that you're trying to build here in America, the future you're trying to build here. And so, who you choose to help you through this incredibly important process is a huge and hugely important decision, right? So we don't take it for granted, Assad, and for any other clients who may be watching, we don't take for granted the fact that you chose us to be your lawyer. It's a big deal. We want to honor that decision. We respect it. We appreciate it, and we're going to work hard to keep earning your trust, um, to keep earning your faith in us. So thank you for the opportunity to serve you. We're excited about it. We're gonna work hard to give you the best possible chance of securing your future through asylum. So Hail says, I want to contact you about my case. How can I contact you? The best way is to schedule a consultation. I'm going to put it on the screen right now. Go to this webpage, winasylum.com. WINASYLUM.com. That's winasylum.com. That's where you can schedule the consultation. Look, if you think you might want our help, the first step is a consultation. We want to get to know you. We want to get to understand your situation, your case, analyze your case, and tell you whether we think we're in a position to help you. If we think that we might be or we are, we're going to tell you how. We're going to explain exactly, concretely what the steps are that we'll take to help you maximize your chances for success. Okay. And it all starts with a consultation. And you can schedule that consultation at winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. So Hale says, okay, I got it. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. I hope we talk with you. Go schedule that consultation. I'm gonna check to see after this live to see whether you scheduled this consultation with our team. I hope to see you on the list. All right. 522 like taps from client. What does that mean, Assad? I don't get it. Let me know what that means. Um, Hey, Jeffrey on YouTube says, hi. Hey, Jeffrey Kung Sung Mung. Good to see you. Thank you for being with us on YouTube. By the way, guys, everyone on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, um, TikTok, honestly, YouTube is where my best stuff is. I've got some really detailed trainings and tutorials on YouTube that I think are going to help you, that I think are going to really help you um, to, to really get familiar with what you need to know to give yourself the best chance of winning your case. Okay. Um, uh, nice. Hey, Brian, is it a free consultation? G Fine says, no, it costs $97, just under $100, $97. Okay. Look, the consultation with us, though, is not like a 10-minute chat you have with other law firms that offer consultations. Most of them are like that. Ours is serious. It's intensive. Okay, it lasts almost an hour. It's up to 50 minutes, 50, and we're gonna go deep. We're gonna get to know you. We're gonna ask a lot of questions to get to understand your situation, your case, and if we think we can help you, we're going to explain in detail what that looks like. We're going to talk about our actual strategy, what we call our asylum action plan, and how we would tailor it in your specific case to maximize your chances for success. So it's a pretty detailed, intensive, honestly, consultation, and it costs $97. And you can schedule it at winasylum.com, WINASYIM.com. Sophia says, my asylum got approved last year, but I'm scared to apply for my green card. I understand that. I understand that. Let me address it like this. So, like, the question is this: does it make sense to go ahead and apply for your green card after you win asylum, or given the current immigration environment, does it make more sense to just lay back and not do anything? Look, I understand concerns about sort of proactively putting yourself out there, back on the government's radar, and engaging with the immigration authorities, given this anti-immigrant sentiment that we're facing and given all the action against immigrants. But I do still think it's worth talking with a lawyer about applying for the green card now. Because look, the sooner you get your green card, the sooner you have more protection. Having a green card, permanent residency, is better than asylum. It comes with more rights and more protections. And importantly, have the next step, citizenship, is the most stable and most beneficial status that you can get. And I think you should move toward that as quickly as possible. And so the sooner you apply for your green card, the sooner you get your green card, which means the sooner you can apply for and get your citizenship. So to move toward that, I think you should apply as soon as possible. I think actually right after you win asylum, I think within the next week or two, you should even apply for your green card. So I think it does make sense to move forward, even in this difficult environment we're facing. All right, Sophia, let me know if you want to talk about it with my team. You can just go to winasylum.com and schedule a consultation where we can, my team will talk more with you about this issue and just more generally about the potential risks as well as benefits of moving forward with your green card application. Okay. All right. Gisbel has basically the same question. Asylum, green card. Well, not the same. It's the next step. A green card to citizenship. Any problem? I mean, it's tough with this administration, but I do still think it's worth it. Yes, to keep moving forward and apply for citizenship. Yes, I would do it. All right. How long does it take to get a decision nowadays? CLRNS wants to know. The question is this: how long can you expect to wait to get the decision after your asylum interview with USCIS? Look, it's impossible to predict this with confidence, but well, actually, look, at your interview, they're going to tell you whether you need to come back in 2 weeks to pick up your decision in person. If they tell you that, then great, 2 weeks. But if they say, don't come back, we're going to mail it to you by the mail, then there's no telling. Look, it's going to be at least 2 weeks, probably several more than that, maybe quite a few more, honestly, maybe months, sometimes even years. If you wait for like a month, I would say, after your interview and you haven't got the decision, send an email to them, to the asylum office. And for those who just joined, a bunch of you just joined recently, I'm Brian Manning and I'm an asylum lawyer. I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now as a lawyer, my law firm helps immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. And so today I'm answering your questions about winning asylum in the United States. All right. What do you want to know about winning asylum in America? Let me know your questions. I'm here to answer your questions about USA asylum. YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. How are you doing? How are you? Yes, good to see you. Thank you. What's the wait time now to get an interview with USCIS? Gabby wants to know. The question is this: how long after applying for asylum with USCIS until you get your interview? Look, this answer comes as a surprise to many people. Usually it's really quick right now. For most people who are applying right now, they're getting their interview right away within 3 to 8 weeks of applying. Now that comes as a shock because everyone knows of people in their community or friends or family or whatever who applied for asylum and have been still waiting for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. So you may be thinking, well, wait, then how does it work if I applied now that I'm going to get my interview like boom right away? It's kind of complicated, the background, the story behind it, but that's how it is due to the way that USCIS scheduling priorities work and the fact that like hardly anyone is coming to the southern border to seek asylum. The way the interplay between those two facts makes it such that actually, yeah, most people who apply now are getting the interview right away. So you got to be ready to move fast. Okay. I hope you have a lawyer helping you to put the case together in writing, and I hope that you have a lawyer who's willing to do a full-scale mock interview and detailed preparation with you, intensive preparation, practice with you for your interview, because that's the most important thing. Okay. Um, Actually, by the way, guys, let me know. For those of you on right now, does anyone have an interview scheduled, like currently scheduled, that you are you already have the interview scheduled and you're just getting ready. You're waiting. You're about to go for your interview with USCIS. Let me know if that's you. If you have an interview scheduled, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know um, what office, which asylum office, and let me know when it is. I like to hear about this from you guys. Let's see. Um, anyone got their interview scheduled? Let's see. TikTok. Okay. Interesting. Okay. YouTube, you guys got an interview scheduled? Let me know on YouTube if you have an interview scheduled. Uh, okay, interesting. Yeah, nice. Just getting this set up over here. Cool. Our interview question is um, Franka Nim wants to know, I watch your videos. I'm trying to apply for asylum in Switzerland. Do you work abroad? And is it the same questions from US to EU? I do not. No, I don't work. I don't help people in other countries. We're only able to help people in the United States. Is it similar, the process? I don't know. I don't know the Swiss or any EU frameworks. I can tell you they're probably kind of similar. Pretty much every country's asylum system is based more or less off of the same United Nations treaty that they signed. So they're very similar usually, but they're not going to be exactly the same. I think you should talk with a lawyer in Switzerland about seeking asylum. Okay. Are asylum interviews scheduled soon for those who entered the U.S. without inspection, or it's also for people who entered on a visa and then applied for asylum? Well, look, if you enter without inspection, it depends on whether you get caught or not, right? Like if someone crosses the border and they're just never caught, they never have contact with the authorities, then their case is treated just like traditionally has been treated more or less like a normal in quotes affirmative asylum case, and they're on the same timeline as someone who came on a visa and applies. But most people who come to the border do get detained by the authorities, and then they're not going to have usually they're not going to have a case with USCIS. Instead, they're going to have a case in immigration court, and that's a whole different timeline. It's a whole different process and a whole different timeline, distinct from someone who applies with USCIS. Okay. But if you're asking whether people who entered on a visa and then applied for asylum are going to get their interview quickly, there's a good chance if you're applying right now, yeah, there's a good chance that that those people will get their interview very quickly. All right. Unknown Pro says, in my interview, I admitted to having lied on my visa application, but I forgot to disclose one additional lie. The officer asked me about it during the interview and requested new evidence. What can I expect? Good question. The question is this: what can you expect if during your asylum interview, the officer calls you out on a lie? If they point to something that, they clearly have evidence showing that you lied about, and then maybe they ask you for like more evidence or more documents around this issue, what does that mean for your chances for success? It's going to be tough to win, honestly. Sometimes you can win after you get caught in a lie, if it's a small thing. But honestly, I believe in being a realist and shooting straight with people, being very straightforward and blunt. And I think it's going to probably be very hard for you to win when that happens. I think the chances for success are pretty low once that happens. All right. Um, yeah. Sorry, I don't have better news, Unknown Pro. All right. What do you want to know about winning asylum in America? Oh, Waleed, what are the chances of Palestinians getting asylum right now? Waleed, I was quoted in the Washington Post on Saturday, I think it was, in an article about this. It's interesting because um, all Palestinian cases are now getting a greater level of scrutiny, where uh, all those cases are getting sent to headquarters for like additional review, additional checking and review by headquarters. Normally, an asylum case gets decided at the local asylum office level, but they're saying, oh, for all Palestinians or even anyone who identifies with as Palestinian or who was born in Palestinian territories gets or who live there um, has to get this greater review. And I do think that for political reasons, it's probably going to be harder for Palestinians to win than maybe it has in the past. Um, but I still think it's not impossible to win as a Palestinian. But you're gonna have to put together a really good case. Okay. Uh, can I contact your team even if I live in Maryland? Asks Sophia. Absolutely. We help people all over the United States. So we're based in Texas, but it doesn't matter. We help people all over the country. Okay. We help people in Maryland. We have plenty of clients in Maryland. All right. I'm gonna put it on the screen now where you can go to schedule the consultation. But I'm also going to put it in the chat. It's winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule a consultation. Okay. Go to winasylum.com, Sophia. Which state is good for asylum? DC, Maryland, or Virginia? Inanjo wants to know. Look, if it's an affirmative asylum case, those are all going to go to the same asylum office. They're all going to go to what's called the Arlington Asylum Office, which is pretty good. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy to win asylum there still, but it's among the higher approval rates in the country. All right. Washington D.C. Yes, I have it scheduled. Says Milka the interview. Okay, when is it? Uh, when's your interview, Milka? Milka, have you had a chance to look at this website, asylumprep.com? Look, if you have your interview coming up, I strongly encourage you to check out this website, asylumprep.com. We put together something really special, a training package to help people prepare for their asylum interview. Look, if you already have your interview scheduled, it depends on when it is, but to be honest with you, it's probably too late to hire us for like a full scale representation. However, we almost certainly can still do the most important thing. And the most important thing is the preparation. Okay. How you prepare for your interview and the practice that you do is the most important part of your entire case. It's way more important than what you said in your application. It's way more important than your evidence. It's more important than having a lawyer write a legal brief. It's more important than country conditions information. How you prepare is the key to your case. And we're offering now this special service that is all about the preparation. And you can hire us to do this for a fraction of what it costs to hire us for full scale representation. And also, we can do this in a short amount of time. We can do this as long as you schedule a consultation with us and we tell you, yes, you qualify for this service, then you can hire us for it with your interview just as few as 5 days away. So what I'm saying is we can do this quickly. And so, look, if you've got an interview scheduled, go to asylumprep.com and watch the video at the top and check it out and see if you think it might be helpful for you. If so, schedule a consultation so we can talk you through it all and see if you qualify for this this service, which we call the mock asylum interview experience, or for short, we just call it the experience. We want to see if you qualify for the experience. Okay. All right. What do you want to know about winning asylum in America? I'm Brian Manning, for those who just joined recently, and I'm an asylum lawyer. So I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now as an asylum lawyer, my law firm helps immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. That's what we do all day, every day as asylum. Um, look, some immigration lawyers you'll talk to, you may hear out there on social media, they do everything. They do family-based immigration. They do business-based immigration. They do employment-based immigration. They try to do everything. We're not like that. We're hyper focused and specialized on asylum. I think that when you need a complicated problem solved, you should work with the person, the expert who is laser focused on solving that exact problem, who's working on that all day, every day. And that's what we do with asylum. So if you need help with a business-based visa, employment-based visa, we're not the firm for you. We don't do that. We do asylum. If you need help with asylum, I think you should talk to us because that's what we do. That's what we love to do, and I think we're good at it. Our results, I think, show that we're good at it. So if you want to talk about asylum and see if we might be able to support you, then please schedule a consultation today. Okay, go to winasylum.com, winasylum.com, winasylum.com. All right. How can you apply for a refugee travel document in Maryland as an approved asylee? There's a form for that. You just go to, you could start by Googling USCIS refugee travel document, and then you'll find on the USCIS webpage the form that you use to apply for that. Doesn't matter that you're in Maryland, it's the same no matter where you are, okay? All right. All right. What do you want to know about winning asylum in America? Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're watching from today, on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. I'm Brian Manning, and I have a law firm called Political Asylum Lawyers. We help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Who else? Milka has an asylum interview scheduled. Anybody else? Anybody else have an asylum interview scheduled? Let me know if you do. We'd love to see where these are going on and when. So yeah, nice. Okay. Yep. Got it. TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. How are you? I'm Brian Manning, and I want to answer your questions about winning asylum in America. So we've got, oh, yes, I have in New York, says Faizanch 379. Okay, when is it? Faizanch? New York is tough. Look, I got to tell you, it's tough to win asylum in New York. That office has one of the lower approval rates in the country, okay? But it's not impossible. We continue to win cases, including in New York, all right? It's not impossible. Okay. Can I expedite my asylum application interview due to health issues? Sindoso Moyo wants to know. The question is this. Is it possible to expedite your asylum case if you're facing health challenges? Maybe. Look, USCIS does do what they call an expedite based on urgent humanitarian concerns. And so if you're facing some kind of grave health challenge, yeah, that can serve as the basis for USCIS to push your case forward and to schedule your interview more quickly. But they don't do it very often. Usually they say no, honestly. Even if you have good evidence that you're facing some really serious health challenge, and even if you can show that, look, getting your asylum case done and getting the decision, getting it behind you would be better for your health, then even when you do all that, they often still deny you. In other words, the chances for success with this kind of request are very low. But you know what does work? A mandamus lawsuit. Look, if you've been waiting for several years, in my office, the minimum is like 5 years. We say if you've been waiting for 5 years or more, we think you're in a really good position to have success with a lawsuit where we sue the government to force them to give you your asylum interview. Now that works. If you want to talk with us about that, see if we think we might be in a position to help you with this, go to winasylum.com, winasylum.com, winasylum.com. Wow. Mr. Sarna says my interview was done last year, still decision pending. Mr. Sarna, does it say Sarna? Yeah. When did you apply? Did you apply 5 years ago or more? If you applied 5 years ago or more, I think you're in a very good position to force the decision with a mandamus lawsuit. So if you listen to the answer I just gave a second ago, I was talking about how if you've been waiting 5 years or more for your interview, you can sue, and I think you'll be in a good position to have success with forcing the interview. Well, you can also use the mandamus lawsuit to force the decision. So what I want to know is if you, whether you applied at least 5 years ago or more, then you're in a good position to sue to force the decision. And we do that. We help people to sue not just to get the interview, but also we can do it to force a decision. Okay. LNR says asylum case was received 1 day late by USCIS. Does this bar someone from if they were F1 status? You mean 1 year? You mean 1 day late in terms of the 1 year filing deadline? The good news is no, not if you have student status. There's two things. They use the mailbox rule, which means that if you prove that you mailed it before the 1 year filing deadline, you'll be okay. Second, also independently, if you got that student status during your first year of the United States and you maintained it through the time that you filed, that's also makes it okay. You'll qualify for an extraordinary circumstances exception called maintenance of status. So basically, should be okay, LNR. All right. Nice. Aluta, Ego Inke Easy. Thank you for the follow. Glad to be connected. What's the asylum rate for Cameroon? Theo Money wants to know. It's tough. It's not high. It's not high, despite all the problems in Cameroon, despite what I think are a lot of cases that should be approved from Cameroon. It's not easy. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know what the approval rate is for Cameroonians, but it's not impossible. We've helped a lot of Cameroonians to win asylum, so it's not impossible. But you got to be ready to put together a solid case and prepare really, really well for it. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing the live, Farah, Sheila. I appreciate you sharing it. But guys, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, share this live because you might help some people who need some of this information to see this and they could benefit from it and maybe even win their case because of it. All right, pending asylum for 12 years, no interview ever scheduled. What's your advice? Oh my gosh, Kababaka and Jerry, your case, you applied for asylum 12 years ago. Are you talking about with USCIS? You've been waiting for a USCIS interview for 12 years. Please call me. Call me. Look, I can't guarantee it. I can't make guarantees, but I can tell you that you are in my opinion, a very, 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 very good position to have success with a mandamus lawsuit. We want to talk with you about this. We want to talk with you about whether it makes sense in your case to sue the government to force them to give you your interview. Okay, we should talk about this. Actually, you can call. Honestly, the best thing to do is schedule it online. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. All right. Theo Money says, which state's the best place to seek asylum? Good question. The question is this: what's the best state in the United States to be an asylum seeker? This one's actually pretty easy, and the answer is California. Look, the offices in San Francisco and Los Angeles traditionally have, if not the highest, among the highest approval rates of all offices in the country. Usually San Francisco is the highest approval rate in the entire country. Okay. In LA, Los Angeles is pretty good. It's usually second or third or fourth highest as well. So California overall is the best state. Now let me tell you about New York, because New York is tricky. The New York Asylum Office, so the USCIS Asylum Office in New York, has a very low approval rate. Unfortunately, it's one of the lowest in the country. However, the immigration court in New York has a very high approval rate. So if you're an asylum seeker in New York and your case is with the New York Asylum Office, it's really hard to win. And a lot of those get referred to immigration court, but then a lot of them get approved in immigration court because the judges have a high approval rate there. So it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit different. Everywhere else, it's kind of similar, like the asylum office and the immigration courts tend to be sort of similar in terms of overall good approval rate or bad. But New York is different. They're split. All right. Can someone still file asylum before 1 year of staying? Yeah, you need to apply before one. You need to apply during your first year. Are you asking if someone can apply after 1 year, Jerry Touch? Um, if that's what you're asking, let me try to address it like um, this. The question is this: is it possible to apply for asylum after having been here for 1 year? So look, remember, there's this rule that says you need to apply during your first year. So what happens if you don't? If you've already been here for a year, maybe you've been here for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Is there any chance of winning if you apply at that time? Yes, there is. Look, there's exceptions. There's two categories of exceptions to the 1 year filing deadline that make it such that if you qualify for one of these exceptions, then yeah, you can apply late and still win asylum. Now, this is tricky. This is a complicated area of asylum law of trying to convince an officer that you qualify for one of these exceptions to the 1 year filing deadline. It's tricky. It's a complicated area of law. I really recommend that you talk with a lawyer if you're thinking about if you're thinking about applying and you've been here more than a year. Talk with an asylum lawyer first, okay, to see if it makes sense, to see if you have a chance of overcoming this barrier of the 1 year filing deadline. Okay. User 60269 says they called me for interview after 10 years and 6 months. What do you recommend? I recommend that you prepare. I recommend that you practice. I recommend that you intensively practice and prepare for your asylum interview. If you want help with that, I encourage you to check out this webpage. Okay. It's called asylumprep.com. ASYLUMPREP.com. Look, you can try and do this on your own. You can try to, go into it without a lawyer, without any kind of help. But if you want to maximize your chances for success, then I really recommend that you go to asylumprep.com. Okay. We put together a very special package that I think can make a huge difference in your chances for success. Okay. We're helping a lot of people through our preparation for the interview, which is the most important part of your case. And I want to see if we can help you too. Go check out asylumprep.com. Okay. Thanks. All right. We've got this from, all right. Nice. No name oro.man says 9 years, Brian, waiting at Los Angeles, but I live in Arizona. We should talk. We should talk. No name oro man. We should talk about suing the government to force your asylum interview. Look, the question is this: why is it important to move your asylum case forward? Like, what are the benefits of having your asylum interview sooner rather than later? Look, there's multiple things. Maybe some of the most important are this. With every passing month that goes by, and for sure every passing year, the officer is more likely to say, look, I know some bad things happen, but that was a long time ago. Why do you think that now, after all this time, someone still wants to harm you? Why would you still be in danger now after all this time? That's just the way that asylum officers tend to think. I say this based on my experience as a former asylum officer and now as an asylum lawyer. That's what we hear from asylum officers, okay? It's hard to overcome that. So the more time that passes, the more likely they are to think that and feel that strongly. Also, conditions could change in your country in a way that makes it harder to win asylum, okay? Also, maybe most importantly right now with the current administration, with the Trump administration, I believe it's going to get harder and harder with every month that passes to win your case. The approval rate has already dropped drastically for asylum cases under the second Trump administration. I think that's going to continue. I think the approval rate is going to go down, down, down. So look, much better to have your interview now or a few months from now than it is to have your interview, to maybe get called for your interview in 2 years from now or 3 years from now, when the approval rate is almost certainly going to be much lower. So yeah, if you've been waiting multiple years for your interview, we should talk about suing the government in a mandamus lawsuit to force your interview. The sooner you get your interview, the better your chances for asylum success. Let's talk about this. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, so we can talk about whether it makes sense in your particular case to sue the government through a mandamus lawsuit to finally get your interview so you can win your case and move forward with confidence about your future in America. Winasylum.com. All right. All right. SF Solo says, hey, I came here from Haiti. I have a pending asylum case. Nice. Nice. Yeah, we know these cases. We've helped folks from Haiti win asylum. Cool. What about the state of Maryland? Yeah, Maryland's pretty good for asylum because you're going to be with the if you're in at the asylum office, you're going to be with the Virginia or the Arlington asylum office, which is a pretty good one comparatively. Uh, how long does it take to get your interviews rescheduled after a cancellation? A week before the interview. Uh, the question is this: if USCIS cancels your asylum interview and says, "Hey, we're going to reschedule it," how long is that going to take? How long are you going to have to wait to actually do the rescheduled interview? Well, look, the good news is usually it's pretty quick actually, because this is kind of like their top priority for scheduling priorities is rescheduled cases. And so usually it's a few weeks. Usually it's like a month, month and a half, 2 months, but not always. Sometimes cases fall through the cracks and you might be waiting many weeks or even several months or even longer. So there's no way to tell with certainty or to predict this with confidence, but there's a pretty good chance that it will be quite quick. Okay. Oh, nice. Nosa Kare Losind says, please listen to Brian. He's the best. The mock interview gave me confidence on my interview day. This comment, by the way, if you guys want to know, this is on TikTok. Presumably, this is someone who did our mock asylum interview experience. And they're saying here on TikTok, please listen to Brian. He's the best. The mock interview gave me confidence on my interview day. Look, that's one of the greatest benefits that people get from our asylum interview preparation services and from this thing we call the mock asylum interview experience. You get confidence. You can walk into your real asylum interview feeling comfortable, prepared, confident, ready to do a great job because look, you already know what kind of questions you're going to get. You know what it feels like to be in this situation because we're going to do a full-scale practice interview, a realistic mock interview. You know what the different procedures are for the day. You know all of this stuff. And this sense of feeling like you've basically been there and done that because you've been through the practice interview and then a debrief feedback session gives you confidence. It makes you feel ready and prepared to do a great job on the day of your real interview. And when you're confident and you feel good, you're going to perform better. You're going to do a better job in telling your story in a clear and impactful way. So thank you, Nosa. I'm trying to think of who this is. Nosa Careola Saind. I'm not sure which client this is. Apparently it's a client who's saying the mock interview gave them confidence on the day of the real interview. And if you want to learn all about this process, this service that we offer to help people prepare for their asylum interview, go to asylumprep.com. Okay. Asylumprep.com. That's where we help people to, or that's where we have information to tell you all about this service that we offer, called the mock asylum interview. All right, experience. All right. Tai says, I'm in New York. You think asylum is going to be easy? No, New York has the New York Asylum Office has one of the lowest rates in the country, approval rates. However, the New York Immigration Court has one of the highest approval rates. So depends on whether your case is with USCIS or Immigration Court in New York. All right. Nice. Nice. Thank you, Aluta. Ego Enke EZZ. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Okay. Very kind of you. What about approval rates for Chicago? Chicago's pretty good comparatively. It's higher than a lot of the other offices. It's comparatively it's good. But look, even in the highest approval rate offices like San Francisco, it's not easy. It's still way less than 50%. Some people think like, oh, if I, as long as I'm lucky or I move to be at one of the high approval rate offices, like then I'm good. It'll be okay. It'll be easy. No. Even San Francisco has a well under 50% approval rate. Okay. It's not easy to win asylum, but it's not impossible. I assure you, we keep winning cases. It seems like it's almost every day that we receive a new approval letter for one of our clients. I assure you it is still possible. We are still winning cases and we're going to keep winning cases. Okay. We're going to keep winning cases. So keep the faith, but know that you got to put in the work. You got to work hard. If you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, it's going to take investment in your time and effort. Okay. All right. What about Houston Asylum Office? No, it has a low approval rate. That's where I worked. I know that office went extremely well. We're based in Houston, so we know that office extremely well. Houston has a very low approval rate. It's very hard to win, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Okay. All right. What do you want to know about winning asylum in the United States, people? Let me know. All right. Nelson wants to know about VAWA, but I don't do VAWA. We don't. I don't know. I'm not in a position to help you, unfortunately, with VAWA. We do asylum. And so, if for questions about VAWA, for getting help with VAWA potentially, you should talk with a lawyer who focuses on that. I think. Okay. My interview SARB says my interview lasted only an hour, and the officer it was very smooth. The officer told me they're going to mail me the decision in about a month. Okay, nice. I'm glad it seemed like it went well. Look, I want you to have hope and be confident, but I gotta say that the mere fact the question is let me address it. Excuse me, like this. The question is this. So does the fact that your asylum interview was short, like let's just say like an hour or 2 hours, and it seemed to go pretty well, the officer was pretty friendly, does that mean that like you're probably gonna win your case? No. No. Look, if it goes really poorly, if the officer is clearly confronting you with inconsistencies that they see in your case, then you'll that's a pretty good sign that it's going to be a denial. But the reverse is not true. It is not the case that, oh, just because the interview seemed to go smoothly and the officer seemed to be nice and maybe it was real short and everything seemed great, that does not necessarily mean you're going to win. It's actually it's common that cases go quickly and seem like everything goes really well, but the person still gets denied. So look, the fact that it goes well is neither a good sign nor a bad sign. You really just can't read anything into it, okay? You got to be ready for anything, honestly. All right. Do I have an AI background? No, not this. I mean, sometimes I do for stuff, but no, this is my office. Um, it's a light. There's like a pinkish light behind me, and that's just a wall. No, it's not an AI background. Uh, let's see. A motion to reopen. What do you want to know about a motion to reopen? I don't know what your question is about a motion to reopen. Brian, I will test for something. What do you? Tai says, "Thank you, Mr. Brian. I will test for something." What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand. Can you put that in different words? Uh, uh, let me know what you mean by that. Miss Thickums back you says the video quality is so defined. It looked like it was a AI background. My bad. Thanks. I appreciate that you appreciate the video quality. Nice. I want to file a motion to reopen. Okay. Good luck. Do you have a question about it? Um, actually, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. Let me know if you have a question about it. Yeah, Mohammed says, I'm 17 years old. I have an asylum interview in Denver, but the Houston Asylum Office has jurisdiction. Yep. When I was an asylum officer at the Houston Asylum Office, I actually went once. I traveled to Denver once. They call it a circuit ride where Houston sends officers to Denver and they do interviews at the field office there. Yep. Uh, I've done that. I sent you an inbox. Look, thank you, but the best way to get in contact with us is not to send me a message to a direct message. If you think you might want help with your asylum case, the best thing to do is go to winasylum.com and schedule a consultation with us. That's how we move forward. We have to get to know you. We have to understand your situation, understand your cases, see if we think we can help you. And we do this in the context of what we call an asylum strategy session or a consultation, right? And you can schedule this at winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, okay? Winasylum.com. Laura says, I sought asylum 8 years ago and then got married. I-130 approved, but asylum still pending to file for the I-45. Look, I think I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but I'm gonna guess at what I think you might want to know. And the question is this: let's say you apply for asylum, but then you get married to a U.S. citizen, and they file a green card application for you. Is it okay then to withdraw your asylum claim and stop seeking asylum? Because look, you think you're probably going to get the green card through marriage, right? And the answer is no, no. Um, don't withdraw your asylum claim unless and until you get that green card in your hand based on the marriage case. I mean, look, it's true. The chances for success of winning your case are better in a family in a marriage based case than they are in an asylum case, but you never know. People, even people with legitimate marriages and real cases, still lose their marriage based case. Okay, it's you never know. You might lose that case. Um, you want to keep the asylum case alive and keep pursuing it as an alternate route, another route. I think you should keep pursuing really any available route to you to get status, okay, to get long-term status. So don't give up your asylum case unless and until you get that marriage-based green card in your hand, okay? All right, nice. YouTube, I neglected you. Sorry about that. Baba Lay says, this is a fake video recording. Really? Then how am I able to say this is to read your comment during a fake video recording? Um, it's real. This is a live. This isn't a recording. All right. What do you want to know about winning asylum in America? Um, let's see. God's baby says, I have a hearing on Thursday and new evidence that may help my case. Can I submit it on the hearing day since it just came up? You can try. You should try. You should try. Um, there's a deadline that says you need to apply, you need to submit your documents. The default rule is like 30 days before the hearing, but there's an exception where if you couldn't have gotten it earlier, it just became available, then the judge might accept it late. So yeah, they might. Um, you should try. You should explain to the judge why you couldn't get it earlier, how you just got it, and they might accept it. All right. Jot Jamu says, what's the success rate for New Orleans court? I have a hearing next month. Not very high. It's pretty tough, but we should talk. We should talk. All right. Jot, I hope you'll schedule a consultation here. Winasylum.com. WINASYLUM.com. Can you get advanced parole while waiting for an asylum interview to travel outside the U.S. for an urgent matter? Bezad wants to know. The question is this. If you've got an asylum case pending with USCIS, you're waiting on your interview, can you get advanced parole? This is that travel document that normally allows someone to leave the United States to go to another country and then come back in and be allowed back in and keep pursuing your asylum case. I mean, look, they're still issuing these, they're still granting these, but it's pretty risky. To be honest with you, I would try to avoid. I definitely would not travel without it if you want to come back. Even if you have it, I would try to avoid it. I would only travel in the truest of emergencies because there's some risk there. There's some, especially with the current administration where things are so unpredictable. There's some real risk there. Okay. Raul says, "How are you from Boston?" Nice. Um, uh, what's the fee for suing the government? Alex wants to know. Let me open my fee sheet and check what our fees are for suing the government. The question is this. So what does my law firm charge to sue the government for you? We're talking about a mandamus lawsuit where we're suing the government to get your stalled asylum case unstuck. Usually we do this in the context of suing to force an interview, but also we can do it to force a decision. Like if you've already had your interview and you're waiting to get a decision, and there's a big delay, we can use it there too. So what does it cost? If you want our help just with suing the government, just with trying to move your case forward, it's $6,500. Payment plans available. Now, if you want our help with that, plus actually helping you in your underlying asylum case, it costs more. It costs $12,000. But again, there's a payment plan available. You don't have to make all that payment at one time. So just to sue, just to move your case forward, $6,500. But if you want that, plus you want us to represent you as your lawyers to try to help you actually win your underlying asylum case, then the total is $12,000 total. Okay. Bezod, no. Newark has a pretty high approval rate. Okay. Um, nice. Nice. Kent Bummer says, just dropping in to say thank you. Your recent videos have been better than Bitcoin. That's fun. Thank you. Thanks for stopping in, Kent Bummer, on YouTube to say that. I appreciate it. Nice. Uh, MHMD Rove says, I have a general question about asylum. Does it always have to be about bad cases like getting harmed, or can I apply for asylum if I'm just scared to be open about my sexuality in my country? Um, good question. The question is this: can you win asylum even if you've never been harmed in your country? Yeah, you can. Look, the officer is going to ask you about past harm. They're going to ask whether you've been harmed, and if so, they're going to want to know a lot of details about it. But you can also win even if you've never been harmed. Rather, you can win based just on the potential for future harm. And that can be true even if you've never been threatened, even if there's no one in your country thinking, oh, when they get back, I'm going to get them. Rather, you can win asylum if just by fitting the profile of people that are harmed on a large scale in your country, that puts you at risk. So, for example, members of the LGBTQ plus community who maybe were not out in their country and they come to the United States, they could have an asylum claim depending on the country and depending on the conditions. They might have a viable asylum claim despite that they never had any problems in their country. And there's no one thinking, oh, I'm going to get them when they come back. But rather, they could win based on this idea that people from that community are widely targeted for serious harm in their country, and that if they went back and lived openly, they would therefore there's a good chance they would be targeted as well. But also there's this idea that you shouldn't have to live in the closet. You shouldn't have to cover up or hide this, what we call a protected characteristic under US asylum law. So yeah, someone in that position might be in a good position to 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 win their case despite not having any past harm or threats. How much are your fees if I want to hire you as a lawyer? HHCC says they range from like $6,000 to $16,000, depending on what you want, what you need, the various circumstances. Okay. Alex Bitta says $12,000, and will someone from your team go with the applicant on the day of the interview? My case is in Arlington, Virginia. So look, Alex, the contract says that the representation on the day of your interview is going to be virtual, meaning you have to go in person as the applicant, but the lawyer can participate virtually by phone or video conference. Our contract would say, look, it's going to be virtual. However, once your interview gets scheduled, if you decide you'd prefer to have us be there in person, you can ask us. And as long as our schedules allow for it, we'll be happy to travel. But there would be like an additional travel fee above and beyond that $12,000 contract price. But we do it all the time. Like people do. Sometimes people decide, yeah, I want the lawyer to be there, and they ask us, and we say, okay, and we go in person. We do the exact same thing in terms of what the value that we add, what we actually do to help you win your case is exactly the same, whether we're participating virtually or in person. But we understand that people sometimes just feel better and more comfortable having the lawyer with them there in person. So yeah, we can do that too. Okay. What is your advice for people who might be anxious or nervous during the asylum interview? Caleb wants to know, to show me preparation. Preparation and practice will help you to be less nervous. It's okay to be nervous. Like you're going to be nervous, but I promise you, you can reduce that and feel more comfortable and confident by practicing, by preparing. Look, Caleb, it's just like anything else in life where we're not perfect at things, we're not great at things the first time that we do them. Don't let the first time that you tell your story in an interview environment be the real thing. You want to do it in a safe, controlled environment where you're not at your best the first time you do it, but then you get practice, you get feedback, you get guidance, you get support and you get practice to help you do better, such that when you get to the day of your real interview, you're going to do better. You feel like you've been there, you've done that, you've gotten feedback, you've gotten help, and you're going to do better on the day of the real interview. So, Caleb, the most important thing you can do to not be as nervous is prepare. You can practice. Okay. Caleb, you, I think, could benefit immensely from our mock asylum interview experience. It's a service that we offer. And what's I think is cool about it is that it's something that we can do to help people that maybe aren't in a position to hire us for like full scale representation. Okay. Because um, it's expensive, right? To hire us costs for full scale representation, like in an asylum case, is between like $11,000 and $16,000. And that's just, unfortunately, it's just beyond the reach of people, some people. And so um, this is an alternative. This standalone service of what we call the mock asylum interview experience. It's an alternative because it's a fraction of the cost. It's only $3,000 or a little bit, tiny bit. Technically, it's like $2,997. Um, so it's a fraction of the cost of full scale representation, and it's something that is actually the most important thing. It's the most important part of the whole representation. Okay. Um, it's the best thing we could do to help you win your case. If you have to pick one thing to really focus your time and efforts and money on, it's this. It's the preparation. Okay, that's the most important thing. And you can learn all about this on this website, asylumprep.com. Again, asylumprep.com. Okay. Um, how much will it cost to hire your firm to apply for asylum? And if I get referred to court, would I pay more for court representation? Seldom wants to know. To apply for asylum with USCIS is $11,000 with payment plans available. If you get referred to court, yeah, it would cost more. It would be like a new case. I mean, we offer a huge discount to people that we already represented at the asylum office if they get sent to court and they want to hire us for court, um, as compared to people who hire us for the first time in court. But yeah, there would be like an additional fee in a new contract. All right. Look, that's going to be it for today. I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer. My law firm helps immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. If you think you might want help, you might need support, we'd love to talk you through it and see if we think we can help you. If so, we're going to explain how. Okay. Schedule a consultation right now. You can do it right now. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, to schedule your consultation right now so we can talk. All right. All right. Thanks for being with me, guys. We'll be live again tomorrow on Wednesday at 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. So like in Texas where we're based, we'll be live at 11 a.m. For those of you on the East Coast, it's noon, okay? For those of you in California, it's 9 a.m. that we're going to be live tomorrow on Wednesday, September 24th. All right? Thank you for being with us. As always, it really is a pleasure and it's an honor. It's truly an honor to support you in your asylum journey. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right.